Thanks, everyone, for joining our business continuity webinar. My name is Brian Karen with Quorum Labs. We have an appliance-based solution that you want to think of it as high availability, backup, and disaster recovery all in a box. We provide you these appliances that you put in your infrastructure, plug and play, and you have an automatic high availability backup and disaster recovery solution. Brief agenda here is we're going to talk about who is Quorum Labs. We're going to give you our company background. Then we're going to discuss the recovery challenges, the business continuity / disaster recovery challenges out there in the marketplace today. And then we're going to talk about our solution, OnQ, and how it's different. And then finally, we will do a product demonstration where we fail a server and actually bring it back online right through the OnQ interface. We have a very interesting background. We actually developed our intellectual property that is kind of the glue of our solution in our appliance for the Navy to manage their mission-critical weapon systems. We took that intellectual property and built this appliance-based high-availability disaster recovery solution around this policy engine that resides within our solution. And we launched the product 2010 Q1, and we've had some very modest success. The last 2 quarters have been record-breaking. We are at over 100 customers now. And a lot of our customers, as you can imagine, spans over different verticals. It's basically for any company out there that has a need to get their servers back up and running quickly. As you can see from the list here, we've done a lot in the financial space. There's reasons behind that, which I'll get into here as we progress in the presentation. But we actually span across all verticals: accounting firms, medical, community banks, investment banks, a whole slew of different customers. And we've seen great growth, especially in the past 3 quarters. So we're really excited about the solution, and the marketplace has embraced us. The business continuity disaster recovery challenges out there today, I'm sure you've all seen through your experience, the recovery time is the key objective here. How quick can I get the server up when there's a failure? Great, I'm backing up the data, but how long is it going to take for me to get that server up and running when there's a problem? Restoring from backups, that's an issue. Typically, when you try to restore from a tape backup, could take you days to get that server up and running. Testing the backups, that is another challenge that's out there. How often are you testing your backups? A lot of companies out there, this is something that goes neglected. Testing changes, if you want to roll out upgrades, patches, before putting them in production, that's a challenge. Who does this now? Is there an opportunity to do this? From an audit standpoint, are you in compliance? Especially in the financial space, the FDIC, we've done a lot of deals in the community banking space, and they get audited by the FDIC, and they want to see their disaster recovery plan in action. Can you actually bring these servers back up on demand? Show it to us. Tight budgets and resource limitations. Companies out there are doing more with less. Those are the challenges that you're all facing out there in the marketplace. In addition to that, the downtime tolerance for Tier 1 data is a small window. As you can see from this enterprise strategy group research, 17% say that they can't afford any downtime, and then 39% less than 1 hour, 21% 1 to 3 hours. And this survey was done in the SMB space with customers less than 25 servers. So that is a challenge as well out there. What are the options out there today? We talked about standard backup to disk or backup to tape. Promise that it's sufficient. It'll do the job for you. The reality is rarely does it get tested, and then on top of that, sometimes it doesn't even work when you go to restore the tape. Tapes are physical objects. They get damaged. They get put in places that aren't necessarily under optimal conditions, and they rarely get tested. You have cloud backup out there in the marketplace. The promise is it keeps the data safe. The reality is false security and months of downtime. The city of New Orleans actually was using a cloud backup solution, and they got a bad backup on all their servers and didn't realize till 3 months down the road. By this time, they had lost 3 months' worth of data, and it brought the real estate market to its knees, all because there was no testing of the backup. And not to mention that recovery is quite painful from the cloud. If you want to restore a server that has failed from the cloud, just from a physics standpoint, you're not going to be able to do it over the internet. It's going to take days to get that server back up and running. Then there's also a site-to-site virtual site recovery, SAN replication / virtualization. And the promise is eliminating the complexity of managing and testing recovery. The reality is it's complex to integrate. You have multiple components out there that you're piecing together. You'll need multiple SANs. You'll need replication software. You'll need a site recovery manager potentially, bandwidth optimization. When you piece all these solutions together, it's really an enterprise-based solution with many moving parts as opposed to a solution that can be plugged in, easy to manage, built for an SMB. And that's what our solution is. We've built this for the SMB market. The first one-click site recovery solution. Very easy to manage. You manage it from a web interface, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit. It's a simple user interface, and we're putting all of the components that you would go out and purchase to piece together a state-of-the-art disaster recovery solution right in our appliance. So we're doing a lot of things within our appliance. We're doing the backups. We're providing monitoring capability. We're virtualizing all your servers on demand, so if there's a failure, you just click a button and boot up that server right off of our appliance. There's also a deduplication aspect to our solution, so that when we take those incremental subsequent backups, it's going to be efficient. We're going to be able to replicate them efficiently over low bandwidth, and we're providing you with a platform that instantly allows you to restore your servers on demand. Let's talk about the appliance benefits. There's multiple advantages to going with an appliance-based solution. One is no additional hardware or software prerequisites. You buy our appliances, you put in one locally, one off-site, and you have all the software and hardware you need to have that instant recovery of your servers. Install fast. It's not going to be a multi-month rollout, which it potentially could be if you do SAN-to-SAN replication and buy all the components that would be needed in that scenario. You can get you fully deployed and trained in days. 3 to 4 one-hour sessions will have you up and running on the OnQ and being able to fully manage it. No professional services. Again, it's a plug-and-play solution. And this one is really key. One throat to choke. So if there's an issue, you're not calling multiple vendors. You call us right directly, and we'll figure out the issue quickly and resolve it. Also, easy maintenance and administration as well. Let's take a look at how we're doing this. What you do is you have your OnQ appliance, you'll put it on your local area network, and you'll have your servers that you want to protect at the bottom. Now, these servers can be physical or virtual. The only caveat is they need to be Windows 2003 or above as the operating system. So typical customers that we have today are backing up email, Exchange, SQL, Oracle, domain controllers, your whole flavor of Windows-based servers that are running your business. So what we do on installation is we install an agent, a real lightweight agent on all of your servers, and we take a complete backup of your server. We take everything, the whole environment, all the way down to the operating system, and we drop it onto our appliance, and we spin up a virtual machine of your servers on every backup. You determine how often you're going to back up each server. We can get down to 15-minute increments. So you might have one server you're doing every hour. You might have one you're doing every 15 minutes. Maybe one is less critical, you're doing every 4 hours. So what we do subsequently after that first backup is we run the subsequent backups through a deduplication process that is unique to our solution. We actually are patenting this algorithm that we wrote to do the dedupe. And so what we do is we only take the changes at the file and folder level on subsequent backups. So when the subsequent backups are being taken, we're doing it in an efficient manner like I mentioned before. What also starts to occur is you get a library of backups on your appliance on the server, and I'll show you through the interface here in a little bit how you can go back in that interface and actually do a file or folder restore. So in essence, this is your backup piece of your solution as well. So what ends up happening here is we spin up the virtual machine on every backup. So if you have a user here represented by this laptop connected to, let's say that's your Exchange server, and for whatever reason that server has a failure, they will be able to connect to the virtual version of that Exchange server, the latest backup, right off of our appliance and be able to continue to work while you address the problem with that server that's failed. Now in addition, like I mentioned before, there's a secondary appliance that you'll put at a secondary location. Could be at a hosting center or a branch office, wherever you want to put it far enough away from your main location so that in the event of a disaster, you can go ahead and actually run all of your servers that were being protected right off of that appliance virtually without any additional hardware or software. In addition to that, we also provide, through our OnQ Central, daily automated recovery tests and reports. So on every backup we take of your server, we're going to spin up a virtual machine on our test network separate from production to make sure that every backup we're taking is available to spin up if in fact you have an issue or a failure. If the City of New Orleans had this feature, they would not have been down for 3 months. They would not have rather lost their data for that 3-month span. Rather, they would have been notified immediately that the backups were bad. Go in there and check out why that occurred, and they would have been able to rectify the problem and get the train back on the track. Like I mentioned before, we believe simplicity leads to reliability. We have a simple web interface. I'm going to show you that here right now, actually, as we go into the demo. And we're going to crash a server. So this is the OnCue interface. We have, like the slide said, simplicity leads to reliability. Real easy layout, real straightforward. On the left-hand side, you have the connection status of the protected node. So this is the server. These are the servers that we are protecting. We have a Suntel server, which is a loan application that runs on a SQL backend, and an Exchange server that we are protecting. As you can see, green indicates they are both running. There are no problems with the protected nodes. The type field indicates PN, protected node is running. RN status, this stands for recovery node in our nomenclature. And so this is the latest virtual machine of each of these servers that is sitting there ready to run in the event of a failure here. So what we're going to do in this demonstration is we are going to crash this Suntel server. So I am logged into the Suntel server. I'm going to pull the plug on it, and I'm going to show you how we boot it up right through the OnCue interface. So first, I'm going to show you that I am in the actual application, and I'm looking up data. You can imagine I'm a loan officer, and I'm looking up information right here. Everything is working. I'm looking up their payment schedule, and then we have a failure of the server. As I'm going to crash this server here, I'm going to shut it down. And so that server is going to go down. And as you can imagine, as the loan officer, I'm going to click on the app, and I'm going to get the hourglass of death. The application is going to freeze up. So what's going to happen from this point is the OnCue appliance is going to recognize that this Suntel server is down because it's not receiving a heartbeat from the agent. And what it's going to do, as you can see it turned red, it's going to send out an email or emails. You determine who's going to get the email. There's a field you can put in, a notification field. And what OnCue is going to do is it's going to send out this email, and it's going to tell the IT manager or whoever's on the email that you want to go and check out this Suntel server. There appears to, from that point on, the IT manager will confirm the failure, log into the OnCue interface, and recognize that this Suntel server is down. And this is the easy part. All he has to do is click on this button and power on that latest backup, the latest virtual machine, so that everyone can continue to work while he fixes the problem with the server. So in essence, the time you're going to be down is the time it takes for you to get this email, log in this interface, and go ahead and boot up the server. And you can access this interface from anywhere. You can even access it from an iPhone. So if you're home for the weekend and the server goes down, you can actually do this right from your iPhone. So while that server's booting up, just want to show you the testing feature that we mentioned before, which is very popular with our financial customers. Now this is the Recovery Nodes tab, and you can go in this tab, and these are all the virtual machines. You can actually power on any of these servers in a completely separate test network. So if you want to go in here and power these on and test a patch, like we mentioned before, or an upgrade to see what kind of pitfalls you might encounter, this is, in essence, a virtual sandbox that you can do that in. In addition to that, what our financial customers do is they use this to test, not test, but show their auditors what would happen in the event of a disaster. They can boot up all of their servers right through this interface on the test network, which is completely separate from production, not attached to the NIC card, and actually show auditors that they are booting up applications and that they're ready to run. So another feature of note is also the self-test feature that we talked about before. So this is the tab where you can go in and actually set up your test schedule. So when you're taking those backups, you can get a report that will tell you that the virtual machine's all booted up and everything's good. You can determine how often you want to receive that report. So now as we go back to the application, just going to get rid of that SQL error. And then we will be back and up and running within the application as soon as we log back in. And so the users can continue to work with limited downtime while you, the IT manager, fixes the issue with the servers that failed. Now, what happens after the fact? How do you get those changes back to that server that's failed? Very simply, you go into this retrieval tab, and this is also the tab where we mentioned before you can do the file or folder restore. So it's just very easy interface. It's similar to a Symantec backup exec. You go in here and you can select the snapshot and drill down into the snapshot and do a file or folder restore. Also, this is the protected node failback tab as well, where you'll go in, and if you have, so let's just say that your users are running off of that Suntel server while off the virtual instance, and you fix the problem and you wanted to get the changes back. Very simple. You go into this tab and you click on the incremental failback, or you can do a complete failback if that server in fact blew up and you have to fail back to similar hardware. You can do that right from this tab. Really simple. And that's how we like to keep the solution. As you can see from the interface here, the type that's running right now is an exclamation point because it's the recovery node tab, the virtual machine that's running, and you're running right off of that. And that basically is going to conclude our presentation. Again, if there is interest or any questions, please submit them through the GoToMeeting interface on the right-hand side, and we would be more than happy to address those. I'm also going to put my contact info up on the screen. If you have any additional questions or you want to see a more detailed demo of the product, please contact me, and we would be more than happy to reach out to you and have a discussion about our solution. But we appreciate you taking time out today to listen to our story, and we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.